Hey YouTube, how's it going? Red Baron here, flying at you with yet another Elestrals video. So 2 videos ago, I posted a game between Jade, Johnny, and myself. He used Summer Winds, and I used Voltic Gale. Voltic Gale being Volt Tempest deck, but just calling it Volt Tempest didn't seem right, so Voltic Gale sounds cooler. Yes! So, here we are. I wanted to go through this deck. This is something I made primarily for the FFA format Tribune, but I wanted to dive into it because I saw how powerful it was and how powerful it could be. So this is my deck currently. This deck can be upgraded. There's cards that can be taken out and replaced with something else. I will go through that. But first off, let's see what I have here. So the main package, you want to try to get Volt Tempest out as fast as possible. When you get it out, it can't be targeted. Let's see. As long as Zeus is enchanted, Voltic cannot be targeted by any opponent's card effects. So the only things that are hitting you are Shield and Tsunami. But you don't really have to worry about those too much. You know why? Because you're running the back row destruction package. You're running Thunderstorm, Target and Destroy a Rune. You're running the P-Gust. When it receives one or more wins, you can target and destroy a rune. So you're not too scared of the back row with this deck. So I have here, so first off, you need 3 Elegics. That's obvious. When you normal cast this Electric, you can search your deck for a Divine Rune, add it to your hand. Self-explanatory. You need to get Zeus. Zeus needs to be here in order for this effect, for this whole combo to go off. So that'll get Zeus to your hand. So next you have Gryffus. I currently had 3 in this deck, mainly because Gryffus is one of the other main cards you need to get into Volt Tempest. Having 2 doesn't seem like enough. So I have 3 in here. And then when you Nexus a Thunder or a Wind from a Divine Rune, you can, when you do, you can special summon into Volt Tempest. Now, what does that mean? That means you can either run Aeolus, or Zeus. But in my opinion, Zeus is 10 times better here because your main package is Thunder. You're not going to be really using Aeolus to search Sorlet and P-Gust. They're not your main card. You need to have Zeus on the field. So, and you should not be running both Zeus and Aeolus in your deck. That clutters it up. That means it's going to be bad. So I'm going to put Gryffus, and then obviously you have your 1 Volt Tempest. Any more than that, and you will break hard. That card should just stay at 1, and pray to God you don't draw it. I had 1 game where I drew it, and it felt really bad, but more often than not, you don't want to draw it. Now, what happens when you do draw it? What happens when you draw those multiple Gryffuses? Well, you know what? That's why we have these. Drops of Leaf. Recently got nerfed. Now it's a 2-cost, but it is still viable. You can still play this card. Reveal any number of cards in your hand, then shuffle them into your deck and draw that many cards, +1. So if you're playing drop and you target 2 cards in your hand, at least, this is worth it. That means you're dropping 2, drawing 3. Now, if you're, unless you're unfortunate like me, during that same exact game, I think I put back a Riceros and an extra Zeus, because I had like 2 Zeuses, and I didn't really need Riceros at the time. So I put them back, and you know what happened? I shuffled up my deck again, drew the exact same cards. That is just unfortunate. That happens. Just blame RNG. RNG was not on your side. So what else do we have in this deck? We have the Riceroses. Riceroses are obviously there. Good to stall your opponent. They're 2/4, as long as Riceros is enchanted. Elestrals cannot attack the turn they are cast unless they are Thunder enchanted. So, more than likely, you'll be able to stall for a few turns unless your opponent is smart enough to actually put Thunder into their deck, into their Spirit deck, which a lot of people are now doing. You'll see, even if they mono-color deck, mono-green, don't assume it's just going to be all, mono Earth. Don't assume that every Spirit in their Spirit deck is just going to be Earth. They should have at least a few Thunders to get over Riceros. They should have a few Fires to for the Eruption counter, and that's about it. Yeah, and maybe possibly they'll have Wind. No, not Wind. Water. They should have Water in their deck as well. Water will stop tsunamis. So if they want to go for play, they'll just equip with a Tsunami attack. Let's see here. We also have the Astrabbits. Astrabbits, when this recently got a buff, and it actually got 2 buffs. I'll explain that shortly. When this Astrabbit receives 1 or more Thunder, you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and then add 1 of them to your hand, shuffle the rest into your deck. Now, it was originally at 2-4. It got a buff to 2-5, and this is great. The highest attacking Celestial right now is a 5 cost. Sure, it can become a 6 cost with either a stadium or equipment, but base stats 5 is the max. So, what did I mean by 2 buffs? So recently, a few days ago, they changed the ruling for look at the top, look for the looking ability. Previously, look was the same thing as search, which means you had to show your opponent what you got. Not anymore. Look is at a standalone effect. So if you look, any keyword with look, you do not need to show your opponent what you get unless immediately afterwards it says look at the top 3, show your opponent. Obviously, you're showing your opponent because it's written. But if it just says look at the top 3, you don't need to do anything. So Astrabbit got 2 buffs. Double the payoff. This has been one of the best cards in my opinion from the very get-go, and it's now shining so bright like those stars in its image. So what else do we have? We have Toxian. Toxian is here, has very decent stats. I mean, decent, but it's more than average, better than average. It's a 4-2, so it can contest with a lot of things. Now, it says when this Toxian receives 1 or more Thunder, your opponents must expend 1. So it's there for a beater and to make your opponent burn for 1. I have this Boombat. It could go out. It's there for those like annoying plays, or if your opponent is able to go quickly into a good creature. So if you're playing the mirror match, Boombat is great. Your opponent's like, boom, Electric. Then the next turn is and then they end up Electric survives, and they're like, Griffuse, Volt Tempest, and then your next turn like, oh dang, and then you're like, Boombat, and then you're good. As long as Zeus isn't equipped, though. But if they misplayed, and they don't have a Zeus out on the field, then Boombat can get over it. If not, Boombat can get over anything, but it's there for on destruction effects. So I've used it to get over Foamy. I've used it to get over some really annoying cards like Rosaris, or Sorlet. It's there as an option. That's why there's only 1 of them. So we have the typical wind package. We have 3 Sorlets. You can expend a wind in order to target and change the position of an Elestral, unless it is wind enchanted. So this is good. Wind is used as its toolbox, so you won't see many mono wind decks unless you run into a Pantera deck. Then this card can't really do much. You have the Pegas. Now, I've been thinking about this. I used 3 when I played this deck, but I'm thinking about going down to 2 because I honestly believe Thunderstorm, even though Thunderstorm is one extra, Pegas is better. Or sorry, Thunderstorm is better because it doesn't use up your normal enchant. So Pegas is there for more back row destruction. And where the back row is really heavy right now because everybody's afraid of PTA, Shield, Tsunami. It's really useful. Now, if you Pegas and you target the Tsunami, depending on how into well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Because if you have a board set up 2 Elestrals and you play Pegas targeting a face down, it happens to be Tsunami and they chain Tsunami, it's okay. You can just whoop, change those Elestrals back to attack mode. Of course, all except Pegas, because you just normal enchanted it. So that's all I have for the Elestrals lineup. I have the the new shields, Achilles, the poison tipped arrows, and the Tsunami package. Tsunami's there. Obviously, this is all your protection package. These are the best 3 protection cards in the game. So everything's there to help you stall until you can get Volt Tempest out of the field. Because more than likely, once that hits, you will win the game because no effects can target it. And then if they try to do something janky, I don't know, what could they do there? Like if they end up trying to, I guess, shield you, or try to set a shield, then you have, like I said, back row destruction. Just make sure you're back rowing, and then Voltempest effect is really good. It just burns. Disenchant a thunder or wind, and force your opponent to expend 3. So it is a eruption without the actual downside of eruption. Eruption being that if your opponent has a fire enchanted Elestral on the field, eruption only does 1 damage. So there you have it. This is the deck. What I'm next going to talk about what if I was to improve this deck, what would I do? Let's see here. Currently, because I made this really fast, I probably would take out the one Pegast. Take out one of these Pegasts. Let's see here. I would try maybe with 2 Griffews. See where that gets me. Let's see here. I could see taking out the Boobat. So that's 3 cards. Now with those 3 cards, what could you possibly do with those 3 cards? Let's see here. No, Thunderdorm, not good. Thunderstorm, Thunderbolt, not good in this deck. It doesn't really mean anything. See, I could see Spark Hit is okay, but you kind of need, this forces you to Nexus, and you need everything on your Zeus so your Voltempest can go off. So I wouldn't really. You could try to put some Crackles in. Put in a couple Crackles, 2 Crackles to save. The only thing about this Crackle is that well, everything besides the water is you can't special summon this from in your deck yet. So you have to take the initial normal summon to actually summon Crackle, which is really slow because it has less than average stats, and it's this feels really bad. You are running blue with the water, but there's nothing really worth running. Yeah, Sluggle. Nope. Veritaclaw, you don't really splash that. Now, the reason why I'm not saying immediately now I want to splash like the new Frost card. I forgot, what is it? Roxodle or Chillalotl, is because it's not out yet. They just announced it, but once it gets into the system, I'll probably be tacking it into every deck. But I'll get to that in a different video. Right now, we're not using it, so I'm not bringing it up. So like you could technically put in some Arrowmare instead of those 3 cards or 2 cards. You could just take 2 out. A Pegast, Boobat, or Pegast and a Griffews, putting 2 Airmares. Honestly, not that bad. It can be easily misenchanted. You just use it for its stats. The 4/5 beater, the best base stat Elestral in the whole entire game. Other than that, there's not much else you could try putting in. It doesn't, again, any other Nexusing Elestrals does not make sense in this game, in this deck. I would not put any in this deck. For the main purpose is because you want your spirits to stay on Zeus. You want them to be there for when Voltempest comes out. Anything else is really bad. The reason I'm not playing Nectar of the Gods is it's like a really waste of. I feel like you don't need it with this deck. You're searching so much. You're searching with Astrabbit. You're searching with Elachick. You got the 2 drops. Those should get there. Those should definitely get you there. Everything else should protect you. I mean, I guess you could try with Nog, but it could just bite you in the rear later. So you're drawing using precious spirits, precious life, but I don't know. Ambrosia just seems slow for this deck. Circle the Sky. I guess, well, maybe you could do Ambrosia instead of Quackle. That sounds right because you're not wasting a normal summon. So you can take out 2 out for Ambrosia. But I wasn't really feeling the need to recover spirits when I played this game. When I played, like, I literally lost to Johnny because of a big misplay because it made no sense. I was talking through the video. I was like, oh, I put in the water there to try to like avoid the tsunami. That was stupid. Because if I was worried about tsunami, I would just next turn just equip the water, enchant it with the water, then attack. Because then if he tries to like activate in terms of, in response to the enchantment, then I just switch back to attack and attack. So I should have just like, enchanted it normally, and then I would have won that game. That should have been an easy 2-0, and instead, third game, I just like had an awkward brick. So, I could try like, yeah, I think that's about it. You could try Nog. I'll take out 1 Pigist, 1 Griffuse for 2 Nogs. See there where that goes. Allow you to hit your Griffuse a lot easier. Or 2 Ambrosia. You could definitely try to do 2 Ambrosias. I can see you going through a lot. Well, like I said, I never went through a lot of spirits. But those are the main changes I would do if I'm saying if, but I will be upgrading this deck to be competitive. I'm telling you guys, don't sleep on this deck. This Voltic Gale, as I'm calling it, is really strong. I believe it's going to be better than Earth. It's very consistent. It gets Volt Tempest out. Volt Tempest is really hard to get over. It's really hard to deal with, especially if you have the back row to support it. And even if you go, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. The only possible way is even if they try to tsunami you. The options are tsunami and shield. But if they tsunami you, you're dealing with a big 10 booty. Unless you can get over that. This is pretty hard. That's a lot to ask. So shield is the best out for Volt Tempest, and that's just 3 cards in your whole deck. But like I said, you get this out very consistently. I believe I got it out 2 games of 3. Just because I bricked the 3rd game. It was very unfortunate. But hey, life's about breaking and learning. So that's all I have for today. That's my deck breakdown. If you guys would love to see what my deck looks more competitively, I will send that video up. So leave a comment down below, and again, hit that subscribe button.